Welcome everyone to another edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I am your hardcore host, Rick Head, and I'm joined by the hardcore crew. First, she is a lovely, vicious vixen, Zoe Nightshade. Zoe, how we doing, honey?
Doing just fine.
And then, of course, over at Lance Moss TV, he's the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, what's shaking?
Not too much, and thank you for joining the insanity last night on the Tuesday night show.
You know, I gotta pop in and see what you guys doing. Every now and then, of course, you guys always freak me out, and I gotta leave.
We had a feeling.
All right, guys, we have a long show to talk for tonight. Joseph Knight will be joining us briefly, but I want to get on to the subjects right now because we have to cover not one but two pay-per-views. We had the Clash of the Castle on Saturday, and then All Out, guys. Long weekend ahead of us. So, without further ado, we gotta get on to a couple of news bits. First, okay, that was not supposed to happen.
All right, I'm back.
Hey, Joe, just in time. We're getting ready to cover the topic that you want to talk about. Thunder Rosa, who's been belittling her peers and talking down to, locals or indies. This seems to be an ongoing trend. So what's your thoughts, Joe?
You know, it's funny. You have a person, again, this is where people let stuff go to their heads. You know, you have a person that's gifted that goes. Yeah,
Hello?
Hold on. You have these people who are gifted that are given this opportunity to perform on a way bigger stage, and we don't know if the accusations are true. Now, mind you, we're hearing it from other parties. Could she be this way? Could she not be this way? The only one that could say is, technically is, pretty much herself. But if it's true, because I hear a lot of stuff. I was also researching this. She's the same way, for a school that she runs. It's not good. It's not a great thing for her to be doing this, especially knowing that she's in a high-profile situation. You know, Rick, I know you hate the term intern champion, this, that. I don't like it as much either when it's done too many times. But in this case, strip her of the belt, wait to see if her attitude changes, and then bring her back.
Well, she's already out on injury. She didn't really go deep into details of what that injury is, so she's going to be out for a little bit some time. So that might give her a chance to gather her thoughts and, maybe the rights from wrongs, if this is at all true. Some people might take her criticism as belittling. Lance, what's your thoughts?
Well, one, I hope it's just rumors and that's it. But I watch her YouTube channel. It's just Thunder Rosa, and I saw something in it. I believe the injury is her lower back.
Lower back injuries are never good. Zoe, your thoughts on Thunder Rosa and these rumors?
I hope that they are just rumors as far as that goes. In the indies, even whenever you get to like AEW and WWE, you have to have respect for the veterans that have made the business the way it is. But if I'm going to you for advice and for you to guide me, I'm not there for you to belittle me. So I will respect your gift, but I won't respect you as a person. So I really hope these are just rumors because I like Thunder Rosa.
Absolutely. I love Thunder Rosa as well. She, started off in NWA where she made sporadic appearances. She was an NWA Women's Champion. But then she became a full-fledged AEW female wrestler, and she's already have, the Women's Championship, unfortunately. With a lower back, I'm hoping that's a problem that can be resolved, because back problems have been known to also be career killers. But let's move along. Warner Brothers is speaking with AEW officials, mostly Tony Khan, about a lot of the swearing that's been on TV, specifically on Dynamite. They're coming up with a signing for a new contract back in 2023, so that's right around the corner. Joe, do you think that AEW wrestlers are swearing a little too much?
You know what? I think with the occasional slip ups, like what happened with Jungle Boy and that T-shirt and so what, to cut that back, I was having flashbacks when that first came out of WCW, when the corporation started telling them what to say, what to do, don't do this, don't do that. That I think hampers the story. I mean, you don't have to be a gutter mouth, but at the same time, you know, you don't want to just go in there and just literally just go crazy. You don't want to also withheld some of those feelings, because when you do a promo that's literally very to the point, that is believable even in this kayfabe world of non-belief, let's put it that way. If you can say this about a person and it sounds like it hits home and it's very close to this, obviously you want to keep that going, because fans will believe into it. Fans will believe into this. So let's just say I would prefer them being more realistic than the PG-13, because we've seen what happens to PG era especially with WWE. We'll see what happens with this. So, like I said again, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to be doing, but if they listen to the corporations, they're going to end up the same way WCW went, and how WWE had to coattail to a certain demographic.
All right, Zoe, your thoughts on Warner Brother asking AEW to tone the language down a bit?
I mean, I understand where they're coming from, because I guarantee you their first thought is, let's try to keep it family friendly. There's kids watching and everything. But in today's age, you're going to hear that crap regardless if you see it on TV, if you're out in public. I mean, it's just the way people talk. The only problem I have with them is whenever they drop the GD bombs. I cannot stand that word. I wish they wouldn't say that word. It aggravates me.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Lance, final thoughts?
Well, an occasional shit every now and then is one thing, but there have been some dynamites. I've gone, okay, that's a bit much. Where it's like 6 or 7 in the whole show. It's like, so, yeah, that promo would use it. That one, he just threw it in there just to throw it in there.
All right. Well, guys, this is an interesting one. Vince Russo claims that he's been working with USA for 2 years to help the WWE. Now, he said this himself on YouTube, and he said, and I quote, that USA has paid him handsomely. Those were his words, not mine. And I couldn't help but laugh. I was even on his YouTube video, and I laughed. I'm like, you expect us to believe this bullshit? Joe.
I knew you were going to come to me first.
Hang on, because I know it's coming. Anybody has any problems with what Joe's about to say, joe@scolumsdrum.com.
Thank you. God, Lee, this guy, oh my God. He's the messiah of professional wrestling. There was no professional wrestling before him. I saw a guest booker, he was part of a guest booker on kayfabe commentaries. You can actually see that on YouTube. Just look up kayfabe commentaries.
You sure it's not kayfabe comedy?
It's KC, best of KC Vault.
Thank you, Lance. And this dude thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He doesn't even know how to put a show together. If you listen to him, he's stumbling his words. And now he's a consultant for USA. Give me a fucking break. If he is, they really digging down to the bottom of the barrel, because this guy couldn't put together anything without Vince's approval. He came up with probably a million things, and they plucked one thing out of that garbage he was spewing out. Bro. My thing with him is, you know what? Some of the things he made sense with, some of the things it's like this in a pot of 100%, he maybe does 2% that makes sense. He grows up saying he was saying he grew up watching the originals like Bruno Sammartino, Killer Kowalski, and all of these guys, but then changes it. He doesn't like old wrestling. Well, that's old fucking wrestling, you moron. This guy just needs to stay out of wrestling, go panhandle someplace else, do something else not wrestling related. Might as well go say here's an iconic line for you, bro. Do you want fries with that, bro? That's all he can do.
Other than that, he can start working with Virgil. I mean, those two, I'm sure they could put something together.
Can you imagine the V and V connection, Virgil and Vince?
Yeah. Zoe, your thoughts?
Vince Russo is going to believe what Vince Russo wants to believe. And 9 times out of 10, what Vince Russo believes is not actual fact.
Yeah, short and to the point. Lance, over to you.
Well, he says he was a consultant for USA. Here's the problem. A USA, somebody like some of the higher ups in USA network have said, no, you didn't, Vince. So guess what? No, he didn't.
Yeah, I think, again, he's just trying to keep himself relevant by making all these weird, controversial comments. And that's pretty much it. And he's already forgotten. So moving along, Sammy Guevara is another wrestler who seems to be having heat in the back. According to the reports, he's a Spanish God, has had problems with Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, Sanjay Dutt, and most recently, Eddie Kingston. 2 weeks ago on Rampage, Guevara called Eddie Kingston a fat piece of shit, just like the fans. When Sammy went onto the back, Kingston confronted him and simply smiled at him, which only pissed off Kingston even more. So apparently he took a swing at Sammy, and he was briefly suspended. But I think it was only for like 2 days. Joe, your thoughts on Sammy Guevara's attitude in the back?
I think things, again, this is where people start going on. They hitting too much home. And this is where they need to communicate properly. I know the stories are conflicting because he says, yes, I talked to this guy and I did say this and I did say that. I understand that part. So it's, it's I really can't. It's kind of that scenario where this is just all petty bullshit, in my opinion. I think also Eddie Kingston has a bad history of just going overboard and hitting people, attacking people and getting in their faces, being a little aggressive. I have high hopes for Eddie, but this attitude of his as well is not good for wrestling. These young guys, and Eddie's been in the business for a while, it's not great. He needs to really, I don't know, honestly, I think all the parties need to be disciplined about this. They need to be punished. They need to really organize. But this is part of the chaos that's going on right now backstage in AEW.
All right, Zoe, your thoughts?
I mean, running that mouth is going to end up getting you hurt, plain and simple. I don't know if Eddie knew that Sammy was going to call him that. I know whenever I'm getting ready to do a promo on somebody, I do go to them and I ask them, okay, what's off limits? What can I not target you on? Both parties, I think, should be disciplined for it, to tell you the truth. Sammy's got a big head. He's got a really big ego.
Yeah, fair enough, and the thing is he's a talented wrestler. He's made himself up as, what I call the AEW original. So I hope, honestly, all the success doesn't go to his head, and he does, kind of mature up or smarten up, so to speak. Lance, your thoughts?
Well, okay. From what I understand, he did not. Eddie Kingston did not know that Sammy Guevara was going to say that on TV. That's why he got pissed. And
I
from
too.
And from what I understand, from looking at their Twitter posts and everything, they're not buddies by no means, but I think somebody backstage got them saying, "All right, y'all squash this bullshit and leave each other alone," type of a deal. Because Eddie Kingston says, "Yeah, if I did what I did." And if this would have been on the streets, I would have been in handcuffs.
Yeah, all right. Now we have on to our pay-per-views. The first one is this Saturday's Clash at the Castle. And the first match we want to talk about, of course, is Edge and Rey Mysterio taking on his fellow former Judgment Day brothers, Finn Balor and Damian Priest. My personal opinion, if they want to make Judgment Day look good, Edge is gonna have to put them over. But then you have Mysterio, who doesn't want to put anybody over. Lance, your picks.
I'm going with Judgment Day, and I think Dominic's gonna double cross his daddy.
Very interesting. We've been talking about Dominic possibly turning on his father and having a feud before Rey Mysterio retires. But again, that's a more speculated rumor, what have you. Zoe, your thoughts?
I'm gonna have to go with Edge and Mysterio.
All right. Personally, Joe, over to you.
You know what? I'm gonna also say Edge and the Mysterios because I think it's time for Edge to get his up and comers with his group. Not really keen on either one, but I would love to see Dominic do something and get out of his daddy's shadow for once.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Moving on, there will be Gunther, who will take on Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship Wrestling Championship. Blah. Sorry, guys. Right now, Gunther has been up and coming. He's been really pushing hard. So I think, honestly, Sheamus is gonna take a loss. So I see Gunther getting the win on this one. Joe, your thoughts?
Ooh, I don't know. This is a toss-up to me because Gunther I would like to see him with the belt, and I think it's time for that to go to other young people, not always the same people. But man, I kind of like Sheamus holding that belt. It gives him a purpose, gives him something to help build up other talent. Not that it's a necessary thing, but I think in this case, I would like to see Sheamus keep it and maybe have him lose it at a bigger show, maybe Survivor Series.
Well, Lance, Joe has a fair point, but you also got to think about Clash of the Castle. This is Gunther's backyard. This is over in the UK, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it's in Cardiff, Wales. So, and I'm actually going to say this is going to be a hell of a match because both these guys are just brute force bastards. So I'm going to actually say Gunther retains, especially because I personally don't think Sheamus needs another belt.
And that's another fair point, too. Sheamus has pretty much had multi-tag time titles, multi-WWE championships. I'm not sure if he ever had the IC champion, but I know he had the US championship at one point.
Yeah, I think he's had the Intercontinental.
Oh, so he's a Grand Slam champion.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Zoe, your thoughts?
I'm gonna say Gunther.
All right. Moving along. Then this one's gonna be interesting. It's Riddle versus Seth Rollins.
No.
Personally, I don't get Seth Rollins' this gimmick. But he's calling himself Freaking Seth Rollins, which is a totally different characteristic, at least when he used that term, Freaking Seth Rollins. But Matt Riddle, I can honestly see him going, beating Seth Rollins. Although Seth Rollins has kind of been chalking up a bit of his losses over the past couple of months. Joe, your pick.
You know what? I hate this beyond everything because I hate the slipper wearing piece of garbage, airhead. Bro, that's another one. He comes from the Vince Russo household. Bro, you know, God, I hope Seth Rollins really gives him a curve stomp that kind of knocks him out for good. But I gotta say, I think they're just gonna give it to this Joker just to push him up and kind of give him a place. So, I hate just, and I hate Seth Rollins' gimmick too. I think he should go. I think he's been dipping into his wife's cocaine or something. Remember, Becky's like, God, she kicked out of my hold.
Coke binge, Becky.
Lance, over to you. Your thoughts.
Well, I used to despise Matt Riddle when he was in NXT. Then he started. I watched a few of his matches at like some takeovers, and he's starting to grow on me. So I'm gonna say Matt Riddle because they finally gave him the Matt part back to his name. Matt Riddle is gonna win.
All right, Zoe, your pick.
I'm liking the new aggressive side of Matt Riddle coming out, so I'm gonna give it to Bro.
All right, seems to be across the board from Matt Riddle. And the next one, we have a 6 women's tag match. It's going to be Asuka and Alexa Bliss and Bianca Belair versus Bayley's new, stable, you could call it. It's Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai. Now, if you ask me, I think I'm going to have to give it to Bayley's stable if she wants to gain any kind of, respectable status, so to speak. Joe, your thoughts?
I'm cringing. I'm cringing from this. By the way, before I give you my answer, Terry 3Gs is in the chat room up on YouTube. Again, you could check out Hardcore Wrestling Rants over on YouTube. So he says, good afternoon, folks. I didn't forget. Got distracted watching another video. Well, put the porn down and pay attention to us. Apparently, Matt Riddle's training Liv Tyler. Oh, then that poor girl is done. She's done. She's done. She's going to wear slippers. She's going to wear flip-flops to the ring. Now, going back to this match. Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka. What a great team right there. You got the power. You've got the skill sets. You've got the acrobatics in Asuka. But then you look at Bayley's, teacher Bayley and her 2 students. Here's something I found on Hold on.
Well, while Joe stepped aside, Lance.
No, I'm here. I'm here. I had a certain box turned on. Starts with an A because I said Miss Bliss.
Oh, okay.
So you know how that goes. I wasn't asking for your opinion, mind you. So, damn box. But yeah, I'm gonna give it. I have to agree. I gotta go with Bayley because, with Bayley because this is her debut group. This is her debut on a pay-per-view. It would be foolish for her to lose on a pay-per-view when they're trying to push this group. I'm gonna actually say the one who's gonna take the loss here. I hate to say it, but it's gonna be Asuka.
That's an interesting twist. Lance, over to you.
Yeah, like Joe said, it really wouldn't make any sense if they debuted Bayley's team just to job them at the next premium live event. So, yeah, I mean, and they've got to pick it up. And, well, Bliss, they're trying to get her to get back, build her up for something. They want to keep Bianca strong because, well, she's the women's champion. So Oscar's got to be the one that takes the fall.
All right. Zoe, final thoughts.
I'm gonna have to go with Bailey's team, mainly because they have just debuted. They didn't win the women's tag team champion. They got to come back some way, somehow, and I think this is how they're gonna come back.
All right. And then we have Liv Morgan, who will be taking on Shayna Baszler for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Now, this is a case of Beauty and the Beast. And I'm not sure if the Beauty's going to win on this one, Lance.
Well, I honestly don't see them taking the belt off of Liv here. Survivor Series, maybe, or whatever's in October. But I just don't see them doing it on this particular show. So I'm giving it to Liv.
All right. Zoe, your pick.
Liv will retain.
All right. Joe, final thoughts.
The eye candy versus the one that gets hit by a truck and the truck loses. Wow. Oh my God. It's like you ain't gonna mistake the model here. You know, the only thing a model is Shayna Baszler is he's a model for freaking the Cats or Ford, because with that face she could stop anything. You know?
I think she also ripped off Ronda Rousey's makeup.
Yeah, either that or she had a gun in her hand and it discharged in her face and the powder blackened her eyes like the cartoons. You know, I'm gonna say this: while Liv Morgan cannot wrestle for shit, you know, and obviously the only reason she's got this belt because they can't figure out who else to give it to, and she probably blew Vince on the way out.
So she's in for some money.
Yeah, she's yeah. The only thing I could say, because she doesn't get better, she doesn't get at all better in the ring. She gets worse. Okay, and the crying with the tears doesn't appeal. You know, I look at it like this, Rick. This is what's going to happen. Shayna Baszler's going to beat the living snot out of this girl. I mean, beat her so bad that her ancestors are going to feel it. The ones that came over the Mayflower, the other Morgans. It's going to be so bad, and then out of the blue, you're going to see either a DQ or you're going to see the same thing that happened with Ronda Rousey, that Liv is just going to like put her in a move, and she's going to find a way to either reverse it or she's going to hold on to dear life, and the referee's she's going to get that surprise win. That's what I'm looking at out of this match, because pound
She's
for
suggesting
pound,
like a roll-up pin, so to speak.
Somewhat a roll-up pin, or she's going to do something that the referee is going to have a Shayna Baszler break the hold, and this girl rolls her up or something. It's similar to what happened with Ronda Rousey. So on paper, this wouldn't even be good on paper, because Shayna Baszler should, again, automatically beat the snot out of this girl. So I am looking at, apparently, it's going to come down to this. A beating from Shayna Baszler. You're going to see this girl like crying to the crowd, like, oh, I'm getting beaten, you know. So, and then Shayna Baszler's going to do either a leg lock move, and she's going to roll into a small package or something, and boom, 1, 2, 3, get out of there before Shayna Baszler really cripples her.
All right. And I think we have one more match. And that's going to be the main event. And that's going to be Drew McIntyre against the God, or the Roman Reigns. I can't believe he calls himself, he goes into God mode. So I would like to see Drew McIntyre get the win. But on the roll that Reigns has been going on, I'm not sure if he's going to be beatable. I think he's going to be doing the Hulk Hogan spree, Joe.
No, I disagree. I think they're already getting tired of the whole Roman Reigns thing, and there is talks now. This is rumors. Don't take this with a grain of salt. You know, we wouldn't steer you wrong. 99% of the time we're right. But they are looking to take the belt off of Roman Reigns because it's been so long. He's 400 and something days. More of his title matches end with the Usos and the grandmother and the grandfather and the fucking tribal gods and everybody coming to attack him, come and attack his opponents. I think it'll be stronger for his character, Roman Reigns, if he did show some vulnerability, that he did lose the belt. And being that this is in overseas, I think Drew McIntyre would be a great way for him to win the belt in Europe in a big fashion. So I think this will be a win-win for him. I think Roman Reigns would not lose. He could claim like, oh, you know, the Usos they got caught DUI here in England somewhere or wherever the fuck the place is.
Don't laugh
they were
too hard.
driving
That
on the
might
right-
not be too far from the truth.
They were driving in the right side of the road because, you know, in England everything's reversed.
They got
So,
confused.
You know, they need to take it off. So I'm actually going to throw my name into the Drew McIntyre hat. He's going to win this, and
All
I
right.
think we're going to see some change.
All right, and you know what? Sometimes change is good. Zoe, your pick.
God, I hate watching a Roman Reigns match because we all know how it's going to end up going down in the end. Unfortunately, I'm going to give it to Roman Reigns this time.
All right, seems we're split down the middle so far. Lance, your pick.
Well, they keep harping on how many days Roman's been champion, which is a telltale sign they're back to take it off his ass. And also, he's working a partial schedule now. So, and well, Drew is in his home country, or home kingdom, I guess you could say, because both Scotland and Wales are part of the United Kingdom. So, I'm giving it to the Scottish psychopath, Drew McIntyre.
All right. So now we're going to go to All Out. Now, unfortunately, All Out still has a lot of empty spots. And that's going to be kind of an issue so far. I mean, I'm guessing tonight, hopefully, Dynamite will fill in those blank spots. We know last week that CM Punk was defeated by Jon Moxley in very quick fashion. Apparently, he had injured his foot that was just recently repaired. Some are saying it's a storyline. Others are saying it's not a storyline. So the question is, what does this hold mean for Jon Moxley at All Out? Now, Joe, we've talked about how the big guys are always getting the next title runs and more title runs. We're talking about it right now in case CM Punk. Is it a time to give the title to somebody else, or maybe even a rematch to Hangman Page or someone else?
On paper, yes, it should be. If you're a good promoter, you do that. I'm going to go out in the limb and say that Moxley is going to give that title shot to MJF. There is rumors that he is coming back in a big fashion. And again, take this with a grain of salt. But I think that's what we're going to see because there's really no big title. They really haven't pushed much out there. So this mystery opponent for Jon Moxley, it has to go. It has to go to MJF. Not only to please him, but to show that the originals can win a belt. I'm sorry, Zoe. I know Jon Moxley is your guy, but as a champion, he's as entertaining as Bret Hart. And Bret Hart could wrestle. But charisma-wise, the tough guy, wiggle his body, strut, whatever move Jon Moxley does, he just like Hangman Adam Page. Sorry, Lance, but these guys just don't capture me. They just don't have that oomph factor. They can wrestle, they can talk to Gab when they want to, but as a champion to represent your company, they fizzle. I think with MJF, with the gift of Gab, with the way he wrestles, I think that belt can go and he can say, I just beat former WWE talent. My money is now, I am worth more now than before. I'll make this little thing before I pass it over, Rick. MJF reminds me of a modern day Larry Zbyszko. Now, people will mock Larry, say he wasn't a great wrestler. He was a great wrestler. He was more of the talker. He can literally get you pissed off at him and get you wanting to see him get killed. So I think this MJF should be your challenger and winner.
Okay, well, you talked about how people refer him to other wrestlers. I think The Miz is pretty much the number one guy that, and again, we also have to consider that even if MJF is going to come back, he's been silent, no real word of mouth or nothing, not even a rumor. There was kind of talks that he's going to come back, but Zoe, do you really think after what happened back in June, if AEW comes back, you think that Tony Khan is going to give not only him a title shot but a win?
Part of me says yes, and part of me says no, because Joe stole part of my answer, part of my pick. I was going to say MJF is going to come back tonight, and we're going to see MJF versus John Moxley. MJF gets the win. I'd love to see a title run with MJF.
Well, again, that's something I would like to see, and we're going to have to check out until later on tonight on Dynamite. Lance, your final thoughts?
Yeah, Grant, I think it would have kind of meant more had it been Punk versus MJF for the belt, because at least they have a history. But yeah, MJF would make a great face of the company.
And again, like I said, I agree. As to why they pushed that match for last week, and which went horribly wrong, is beyond me. And again, like I said, we can't rule out CM Punk that this whole thing's a storyline, but I'm not too entirely sure on that either way.
You know what, Rick? If I can interject real quick.
Go ahead.
I think they just wanted to get the belt off of Punk. I think it was a time that they looked at it and he probably was given so much, I think it was just like so much grief. I think right now they just want to get that belt off him. And maybe, who knows, like I said, we don't know. Maybe the whole, because rumor is that MJF is coming back. So maybe they just wanted to get that belt off of him. So I wouldn't be surprised. So that they just did that.
Again, but there's a whole different other aspects. And right now, with AEW, a lot of these matches, we're not really sure what's going on. But let's move on to what we do know. Bryan Danielson will be taking on the Lionheart, Chris Jericho. Now, this has been a whole story over the past couple of weeks since Chris Jericho says he's an entertainer, which is kind of a mockery towards WWE because they call them sports entertainers. And, they're saying now they want the Lionheart, Chris Jericho, the old WCW, ECW wrestler, Chris Jericho. I don't know, Lance, don't get me wrong. I like Chris Jericho when he was in WCW and ECW. But I think it's been a few years, so I don't really see him as a Lionheart anymore.
Yeah, a few years and about 20 pounds. So, yeah, I don't see him as the Lionheart anymore. So, this one, I got to give it to Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, I think, honestly, Danielson could possibly get a win unless the Jericho Appreciation Society steps in, and then Jericho might get the win. Who knows?
Now, this could be match of the night, though.
Definitely. As far as the quality, I absolutely have to agree. There's the possibility. Zoe, over to you.
Daniel Bryanson.
All right.
Bryan Danielson. Whatever.
She's looking at John Moxley right now. Y'all give her some slack.
Joe, final thoughts.
You know what? I'm gonna say this is gonna be a great match. I agree with Lance. And you know what? I honestly, I think what's gonna happen here is that you're gonna see Jericho lose to Bryan Danielson, Not because, of course, Daniel Bryan is a great wrestler, but because of that, whatever that kid was that was with Jericho and he turned his back on Chris Jericho.
Daniel Garcia.
Daniel Garcia. I think that he's going to be a factor in this. And he's going to fully join Bryan Danielson on this one.
That's the interesting thing, we could see Garcia being another part of the Blackpool Combat Club. So that's food for thought. And then, of course, this is a long-awaited arrival that I just want to see get done. So it's going to be Jungle Boy versus Christian Cage. Now, I want Jungle Boy to win. I think he should win. Because, honestly, Cage has nothing to offer. He hasn't had anything to offer since he was tag teaming with Christian back in the Attitude Era. I've never been a fan of him. Jungle Boy has a future, and I think my pick is easily for Jungle Boy. Joe, over to you.
Wow, definitely Jungle Boy. This kid needs to get over big. He needs this when Christian Cage does not. So, yeah, big win for Jungle Boy, and then I could see him moving on to that Mid-Atlantic title that freaking dwarf has. So this is got to be
Pac.
Yeah. Yep, I'm gonna see Jungle Boy move into that category, or even go into the TNT title.
I was gonna say more of the TNT title.
Yeah, so this is gonna be pure. This is gonna be good because raw emotion is there. The storyline has been played really well. Now it's time for it to go. Christian, he's gonna hold an edge throughout the match. Jungle Boy's gonna make his comebacks. But it's going to be a pure Jungle Boy win, and I can't wait to see that.
All right, Zoe.
I'm going to say Christian is going to put Jungle Boy over.
All right, Lance, final thoughts.
Well, and y'all were right. Christian really hadn't been relevant since the ENC connection. I honestly think he should transition from wrestling to being a manager, because he has cut some dynamite promos the last few months. So let him manage somebody after this match. But yeah, I'm thinking Jungle Boy is getting the win here.
Yeah, and you know what? I have to agree. Right now, AEW is showing a lot more managers. So I would definitely think he would be a fit somewhere else. Definitely maybe with a heel faction, or even just a heel wrestler.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We have a fatal four-way for the women's interim, I fucking hate that word, AEW Championship. It is Toni Storm versus Britt Baker versus Jamie Hayter. That's going to be interesting. And the Hikaru Shida. Now, we haven't seen Hikaru Shida in a while, so I think she's just a fill-in. Toni Storm has been wanting a title shot for a while, so I think, if you ask me, I'm going to give it to Toni, because I think between Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, I think we're going to see some kind of friction there. Because despite being friends, you're not going to want to walk away from a title. Joe, your thoughts?
You know what? No, I actually see Britt Baker winning the belt because of Jamie Hayter. I could see them have a little dissension in the beginning, like, hey, I want to win this belt. No, I want to win. It's going to be a ploy, and you're going to see it won't be Toni Storm that gets the loss here. And I hate to say this because I do like her look for this show, but it's going to be Hikaru Shida that's going to take the loss, and this is going to bring her back into the feud with Baker. But it's going to have to be Dr. Britt Baker, DMD.
All right. Zoe, your pick.
I'm going to say Toni Storm. They've been pushing her so much lately.
All right. Lance, your thoughts.
Well, I guess everybody's saying it ain't going to be Hayter. That just ain't going to happen. Anyway, I'm giving it to Toni. Just because, like Zoe said, that's the way they're pushing.
All right. And again, we've talked about people who have had titles before. We know Hikaru Shida's had one, and also Britt Baker. Jamie Hayter hasn't, but Jamie Hayter seems to be more of like a follower of Britt Baker. The only way I
She's
could
more like a bodyguard of Britt Baker.
Yeah, exactly. So she's like the muscle. The only way I could see if Britt Baker won, and then Hayter would want to go for a feud. So it's going to be interesting either way. And now, this was announced last week, the Acclaimed will be taking Swerve and Our Glory for the AEW Tag Team Championships. The Acclaimed, they're good wrestlers if they could just keep their fucking mouths shut. But I think Swerve and Our Glory is going to easily take this one, Joe.
Yep. You know what? With all the stuff that's been going on between the two teams, I don't think, unless Billy Gunn's going to manage them, I don't see the Acclaim winning this. I see them getting a good run, like a good battle with this, but Keith Lee's strength alone is going to be the factor, unless Swerve does something and costs them the title. Because there is, I think, a little animosity between the two. But to just take the belts off of these guys without giving them a proper title defenses, and notice I said defenses, so I think this is just going to be a good match. You're going to see Swerve getting more with the Acclaimed, and in the end, it's going to be Keith Lee's power. Over in the chat room, Terry's offers his vote for the women's match. He says Toni Storm, and he says, or Big Swerve. They could put on a Big Swerve where Hayter is the new goes into a storyline versus Britt. I don't really see them mixing it up because Hayter just loves to follow. But in this thing, Swerve and Our Glory is going to win the belts, Rick, or keep the belts.
All right, Lance, over to you.
Well, I kind of think the Acclaimed are going to win. They're not going to win the belts, but they're going to win because I think the Gun Club's going to jump them.
Yeah.
You know what? That's another fair, interesting point. Zoe, final pick.
With Keith Lee's power and strength and Swerve's agility and his speed, I gotta give it to Our Glory.
All right, yeah, and again, you talked about like the Gun Club. I think actually they have heated, so I think they're split. So unless there's something, something comes in or they get disqualified or whatever, I don't see Swerve and Our Glory losing the titles. Moving on, there's a casino ladder match. Now, right now, no members have been announced, but there's technically usually with casino ladder matches, there's usually 6 people. And it's really kind of hard to make any kind of real pick. So the question is, we have to wait until Dynamite. These are one of those things that I'm not sure if even, Tony Khan maybe have booked this right. I think he's rushing things now. Joe, what's your thoughts?
Wow. Yeah, I think this is just a crash waiting to happen. I don't know who's all in this, but I don't think they should have upped it with a ladder match. Well, they have to have, because that's with a big sign or whatever they got to grab. But I think this is just like, okay, you, and you, let's go ahead into this without no thought behind it. Right now, I don't know what's actually going on behind the stage. Some people say that it's all made up, and it's not as bad as they say. It could be worse. It could be this. Rick, just this match alone, I don't know who's in it. And usually we get a good idea who's in it, at least some of the main people. Who would I like to see win this? I would like to see, and would probably make sense, it'll have to be Wardlow to push him into that world title picture if MJF wins the title.
Well, again, that's kind of like an old feud, kind of like rehashed. Wardlow dominated him, so for that to happen, I personally, again, I really wouldn't want to see Wardlow win because he's still TNT champion. Also, if I had to just pick a few names that I would like to see in this, whether I'm not sure they're going to win or not, you got Darby Allin, maybe Hangman Page, Daniel Garcia. He doesn't have a match booked. You know, we could probably even see, maybe Rusev. And keep in mind, this is a ladder match. So those are just a few names off the top of my head. Are they in? I have no fucking idea. Zoe, your thoughts on this crash course of a ladder match?
Well, and this is another reason why I like AEW, because they don't give everything away. I can't wait to see who's going to be in this ladder match. I hope Darby Allin's in it. I hope he wins it, but we'll have to wait and see. AEW, they're on their they keep us on our toes. They keep us guessing.
All right, Lance, over to you.
I kind of want to see Danhausen in this, just for some fun.
Just for a comedy, yeah. Okay.
And I think the surprise newcomer to the company, because in this match there's always a surprise newcomer. They're gonna win it. I don't know who the hell it is. I don't know who it could be, but the surprise newcomer's gonna win.
Well, another name just popped in my head. I'm also thinking about possibly Hook.
Yes.
It's possible, but not likely. I know Hook right now is primarily over on Rampage. But again, we'll just have to see what happens there. And now, excuse me, again, some more blank spots we got here is the AEW Trios tournament. They've been booking this for weeks now. We saw the brackets, and right now there's still 3 teams to be determined. You have United Empire, who can be facing off Elite, and then you have, on the other side of the bracket, there's Dark Order, or the House of Black, who will face Best Friends. So, it's kind of, again, the pick is a little bit closer. I would like to see the Elite win it, the whole thing. So, the House of Black, not likely. Best Friends is a possible runner-up. Joe, what's your pick out of all these 4 teams?
Well, we got tonight and we got Friday for the teams to move up. I'm going to say the Elite's going to go to the finals, and you're going to see House of Black. And that's going to be a hell of a match. I would like to see the House of Black go into this. They play off the Kenny Omega injury, that he is still hurt. He's still out there. I honestly, I think this is going to be one of those high-profile matches where everybody's going to get a shot. But Kenny Omega, they've been pushing this since he appeared. He's still injured, and he still is. So he can actually come out and be the weak link of the team and lose this match, because they don't really need the belts. They just had the World Tag Team titles. Kenny Omega was just the world champion. Let's give it to somebody else. Dark Order is laughable. The Best Friends, and this is probably going to be frowned upon by YouTube, but I think there's a little bit something else going on to these Best Friends group. They're shaking something, and I don't think hands. So honestly,
they're giving each other a lot of hugs.
They're giving each other a lot of hugs. You don't know what
and
they're
hugging.
hugging.
And there's a reason why when Danhausen is around him, his eyes bug out.
Well, he's naturally looks like that. I wish somebody would drop an anvil on his head like in the cartoons. So, lousy worker. Hate it. He should be teaming with Darby Allin, and that should be something that maybe will
actually he's teaming up with Hook. It's kind of like the Rock and
yeah, they're calling it Hookhausen.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Well, it's actually helping. If you ask me, I know we're getting way off the subject. I think it's really pushing Hook.
Yeah.
So they took this badass kid, teamed him with a moron, and I don't know.
It did well for The Rock when he was teaming up with Mankind.
I think they should team Danhausen with Broken Matt, just for the hell of it.
See, there you go. For characters, it makes sense. So give them something that they could feed off each other. Rock and Mankind. Well, they were two great workers and great talkers. I see neither on the Hook and Danhausen. I don't see it.
All right. So
but I'm gonna go again, Rick. I think I'm gonna throw my hat in when it comes to House of Black, because Lord knows these guys have taken some losses. It's about time they're rewarded for their efforts of pushing somebody else over. The Elite does not need this title. If they get this title, it's just a smack in the face to all the people who are working their asses off.
All right, fair point. Zoe, your pick out of these 4 teams?
The House of Black.
House of Black. All right. Lance, final thoughts?
It's going to come down to the Elite versus the House of Black. And I don't think Kenny Omega is physically ready for a run like this because he ain't fully recovered. So it's got to be House of Black.
All right.
And the belts are black on black leather. So yeah, House Black. Yeah, okay.
All right, fair enough. And now we do have one more trios match. This is not for a title or the tournament. It's the former members or the leftover members of the Pinnacle. It's FDR and Wardlow will be facing Jay Lethal and Impact's Motor City Machine Guns. Now, if you guys haven't watched Impact, Motor City Machine Guns was in TNA's original tag team, and they were incredible. And honestly, for guys, this is going to be a toss-up. But the match itself, I would like to see the Motor City Machine Guns going against FDR. Lance, your thoughts?
Dude. 2 great tag teams and 2 great singles. Another match of the night candidate right here. And I can't pick a winner on this one.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be the dark horse of the pay-per-view. Zoe, your pick.
Oh my God.
Yes.
It's going to be a coin toss for me. I have no idea.
All right. Joe.
Oh my God, I was a big fan of the Motor City Machine Guns when they were in the old TNA and Impact. Their battles with Beer Money were incredible. Looking at FTR, another team they're my favorites. In tag team professional wrestling, there is no other team better than the FTR. They remind me of old school workers. They can get in the ring. They can talk. They can fight. They're just like Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson. Then you got the Motor City Machine Guns, who are high caliber. They haven't lost a step. They're still that great team. You look at Jay Lethal. He's no pushover. He's a great worker himself. Wardlow is the power man on this. But I'm going to say this. This is going to be one of those matches. I agree with Zoe. It's going to be something that I got to toss the coin up. But if I have to pick a winner, Wardlow's going to make the difference here. And his power bombs are going to take out Jay Lethal. So that's my safety. But if that other match is not match of the night with Jericho and Bryan, this one will be the match of the night.
Yeah, again, I think so. We're all in this agreement with this one. So definitely can't wait to see that. We don't even know if there's going to be a buy-in show. That could be it. But either way, I think we're all going to be tuning in to watch that. So this is going to wrap up this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I want to thank Terry G, who's hanging out on the YouTube as always, chatting with us and giving his thoughts. For those of you who are listening, head over to HWR chat room tonight. I will be covering Dynamite, as well as I'll be putting up sometime tonight the Babe of the Day. Joe, you're over at Skeleton Realms. Tell everybody about it.
Definitely. You guys can check me out. Just do the hashtag Scoldrins Realm. And, man, let me tell you, it was It's been a crazy week, so I'm going to be getting back into gaming. They just released the Resident Evil DLC for Dead by Daylight. So you have Albert Wesker as a killer, you got Rebecca Chambers, and you've got Ada Wong as your survivors. And it is crazy. I played it a little bit, and they got everybody down packed. So definitely check me out. I'm on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Coming next year, I got a big thing that's going to be unveiled. I'm hoping to do the unveiling of it later, either in October, so everybody will know what's going on, but it's going to be a big thing.
Yeah, speaking of gaming, I just got that new Saints Row game, and I'm really enjoying it. Lance, you're over at Lance Moss TV. Tell everybody about it.
Well, every Tuesday night we go live on Lance Moss TV and Friends. We never know who's going to show up. And, well, we shoot the shit for roughly an hour and a half, 2 hours. And, well, yeah. And it's right there when NXT's going on, so you can turn the volume off on that and just listen to us.
There you have it. Zoe, also know that you're on Lance Moss TV and Friends, but what do you got going in the wrestling world?
I have got a show this coming Saturday. It is in Kiwi, Kentucky. It's going to be in the baseball field right behind the Kiwi Elementary School. It's an outdoor show. Bring your own chair. I cannot wait. Dark Slade is going to be there along with so many other great talents. You definitely got to check them out. It's traditional Southern wrestling. You can find them on Facebook. And if you're interested in booking me as well, you can also find me on Facebook at Zoe Nightshade.
And there you have it. And last and certainly not least, I want to give a quick shout out to our good friends, Mr. and Mrs. A, who over at BC Games and More. They're over on the Facebook group section. Excuse me. Are they still on every Monday night show, or do they change nights?
They go straight to weekends because that's when BC is free.
Okay.
So they check them out every either Saturday or Sunday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They always are doing something great. And they always love promoting us. And you know what, Zoe? I might have to talk to you, too, about Suede.
All righty.
All right. So, for the Hardcore Crew, I'm your Hardcore host, Rick Ed, saying, we'll see ya when we see ya.
Buy the shirt!
God, I would like to say more, but we'll get banned.
That's Joe at Scott'sDrum.com.
Okay. Put him back in the closet, Zoe.